Welcome back to my journey through the 500 greatest albums of all time. This week we're talking about numbers 470 through 461. Let's get started. Number 470 is Radio by LL Cool J. So this album is undoubtedly historically important. It stylistically was, I think, a little divergent from where rap had come from before, and it paved the way for a lot of rappers that followed after. It's not good music though. The rhymes are simple at best and mind-numbingly stupid at worst. The music has dated very badly. As I was listening to it, I realized that I think this is the album that we get all of our rap cliches from now. When we make fun of rap, this is the music that we emulate. I'll give it a 0.5 because of its sort of place in the history of rap, and for LL Cool J's conviction as he raps the absurd things that he talks about. Number 469 is The Score by a rap trio called the Fugees. An astoundingly great hip-hop album, diametrically different than the insipid rap of LL Cool J. This is clever, it's witty, it's got humor, it's filled with political rants that are incisive and sharp. The beats are uniformly excellent, interesting to listen to. Everything about this is well done. I couldn't stop listening to it once I started, and once it ended, I just wanted to go back to the beginning and hear it again. An easy 4 for The Score by the Fugees. 468 is the self-titled album by the Paul Butterfield Blues Band. Blues can get mundane. However, this group takes the blues idiom and sort of speaks it in a lot of different interesting ways. They're influenced by the sounds of Delta blues, rockabilly, rock and roll, and all of that sort of combines to create blues that is continually interesting, and the harmonica player is really did enjoy this. It was a lot of fun, and I'll give this album a 3. Number 467, Tunnel of Love by Bruce Springsteen. The songwriting is excellent. The performance, especially by Springsteen, really impressed me. I don't think I've ever listened to a whole Springsteen album all the way through, and this one really blew me away. I loved everything about it. Another 4. This one was excellent in every respect. Okay, number 466 is Coldplay's A Rush of Blood to the Head. Another album that impressed me from the first note until the last. The music was complex without being overbearing. The lyrics were dense without being unintelligible. And I do think that that is one thing that makes a great album great. Every song, again, is well written, well performed, well produced. Fits in the context of the album that it sits in. Another 4. So 3 4s in this group of 10. Okay, 465 is an album by The Magnetic Fields. 69 love songs. So this album I would call wildly uneven. It does have 69 songs, but I would not call them love songs. I think the best explanation for what this album is, I didn't come up with it, I read it. And that is, it's not 69 love songs, it's songs about love songs. So there is a lot of satire, a lot of irony, a lot of tongue-in-cheek moments. My initial feeling as I was listening to these songs were, it was several bad songs followed by a pretty good one, and then a few more poor ones, and then another good one. And I was thinking, man, if they had they just needed a producer to cut out all the crappy songs, and they would have had a decent album. The lead singer's voice got on my nerves. He has a super low singing voice, which sucks all of the energy out of a lot of the songs, even the good ones. Mostly terrible songs. A few good ones save this from being a complete waste of time for me. I'll give this a 1. Okay, so that Magnetic Fields album took a long time and was very taxing to get through. So I was happy to get to number 464, which was Hysteria by Def Leppard. For some reason, I just found out this week that Def Leppard was an English band. How did I not know that before? Anyway, this is exactly what you expect out of a mid-80s butt rock, glam rock band. It's loud, it's a huge snare. It's possible that I enjoyed this more because I had just come off of the experimental indie rock of the Magnetic Fields, but I super enjoyed this. You know exactly what you're getting, and you get exactly what you're expecting. Not what I would call a great album, and for that reason I'll give it a 3. 463 is an album called Heaven Up Here by Echo and the Bunnymen. This album did not do very much for me. It was just a bunch of guys sort of playing music and yelling. It didn't get me excited. It didn't disgust me. I didn't particularly think it was great. I'm going to give this a 1 because they played pretty well, even though it didn't get me excited. Okay, in the 462 spot, we've got R.E.M. Document. This is a surprisingly excellent album, filled with excellent alternative rock, almost before alt-rock was really a thing. I think in some ways R.E.M. paved the way for what the 90s became. I think the vocals take a little bit of getting used to, but once you understand that sound of their blended vocals, then everything clicks. Something about the way that it comes across, it matches and meshes in a really, really cool way. I will give it a 3. And finally we have 461. This is the album Second Edition by Public Image Limited. As I was listening to this, I had two thoughts. Actually, I had many thoughts, but the first thought I had was, this is so exciting, because if music this terrible, played by people with this little talent, can end up on the Rolling Stones 500 Greatest Albums list, then what does that mean for those of us who have a modicum of personality, talent, and skill? The sky is the limit. We can do anything, because this album is wretched, and somehow it still ended up on a list of greatest ever. So to me, that is a symbol of hope to artists and musicians who aren't sure about where they're going to end up on the grand scheme of musical history. The second thought I had, did you ever watch American Idol? You know how in the first part of the show they always have like the best ones that move through, but then they really love to show the bad singers, the cringeworthy singers who it's entertaining to watch but also painful at the same time. Take out the entertaining factor, and that's what listening to this album is like. Most of the songs were a single riff, or I think one of them had a pair of chords that went back and forth, played poorly. The vocals were either screeched or mumbled, or occasionally howled, and a screechy, wrangly guitar that almost never made any kind of musical sense. These are songs only in the loosest definition of the term, and this was a very easy 0. An incredibly painful album to get through. I do not recommend it. Okay, and there we go. We've made it through another 10 albums. Thanks once again for watching, following along with me. Let me know in the comments if you disagree or agree with any of my impressions of these albums, and I will look forward to seeing you in the next group of 10. If you like what I'm doing here on this channel, give me a thumbs up, and if you want to be notified when I have new content coming out, go ahead and hit subscribe. I will see you later.